So with the release of the iPhone 7 and iOS 10, Apple has made quite a few improvements that, to be honest, are pretty compelling when compared to Android as a whole. But after being a heavy Android user pretty much ever since it debuted on the HTC Dream, I decided to take the plunge earlier this year, and I added an iPhone to my arsenal of devices. And of course, we know the best Android experience always came from Google's Nexus devices, and we've seen the number of hardcore Nexus users grow quite a bit over the years. And with the release of the Google Pixel, Google looks to increase those numbers even further. The Pixel is Google's iPhone, if you will. The Pixel costs the exact same as the iPhone, and a lot of Android users may not be looking to spend that much for an Android phone, especially after Nexus devices being priced a good amount lower in the past. So for those of you that are curious about testing the waters with a new platform, could the iPhone possibly be enough to sway Android users? After using both extensively, I feel I can give you guys some fair perspective on this very subject. So after using Android since the beginning, what's it like using an iPhone? Well, the 7 Plus may turn some heads as it now has things like dual camera lenses, stereo speakers, and IP67 ratings, things that Android phones have had for years, while current ones like the Pixel unfortunately do not have. But most of what deters Android users from using an iPhone isn't necessarily within the hardware, it's the software. iOS has been notorious for its lack of customization out of the box. While some people may argue the usefulness of this, you still can't close all applications at once. You still can't set default applications. You're still locked into using iMessage for text. You still can't toggle location services, and although you can toggle these, you still can't manage Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connections straight from the control center. You still can't place applications where you'd like to place them on the home screen. The list just goes on. But putting what many people consider to be downfalls aside, the question remains, does the iPhone actually have something to offer die-hard Android fans? The latest version of iOS is seeing some pretty nice improvements. Things like the ability to respond to messages straight from the notification itself. There's Raise to Wake. You can now remove/hide stock applications from the home screen. You can finally clear all notifications at once, and you've got a full page of widget-like cards, very similar to Google Now. Now, if you're an Android user, you're probably giggling at how these are seen as new features when they've been on much older versions of Android. Now, what the iPhone really has going for it is speed. If you're a power user just bouncing in between applications like a madman, the iPhone 7 Plus is definitely going to impress you. It's got Apple's newest quad-core A10 Fusion chip and 3 gigs of RAM. Now, what does that mean in English? Well, it means that this phone is blazing fast. It handled everything that I threw at it like a boss. Touch ID remains in the top 3 quickest fingerprint readers as of now, and the main thing that impressed me was how quickly I could jump in between applications and pick up from where I left off without the app having to refresh itself. And also something that seemed to impress some people was that the phone was so fast you could actually prevent an app from opening up all the way by hitting the home button while the app is opening. Okay then, but don't get it twisted. As of now, the iPhone 7 just might be the fastest phone on the market. Yeah, I said it. Then there's battery life, the camera, and hardware. The 7 Plus has some of the best battery life on any phone that I've ever used. It's extremely reliable. I was very impressed. The camera is easily top 2 among all smartphones out as of now, and you could argue that it's number 1. Personally, I still prefer the camera on the Galaxy S7 Edge, and although it is early, the camera on the Google Pixel looks extremely impressive as well. But I will admit, the 7 Plus's camera definitely had me impressed with its 4K video recording and how clean and stable it was. As for the hardware, the first thing that popped into my head and pretty much everybody else's head was, oh yeah, there's no headphone jack. And although some Android phones have already been graced with this subtraction, the Pixel, for example, still has it. And yes, I still find it useful, and I did miss it on the iPhone. There is, however, the addition of a front-facing speaker up top which completes the stereo sound for the iPhone. Finally, the sound is loud, crisp, and very enjoyable, so I was very impressed with that. Not much else to say about the hardware other than that it's very well put together, it's very solid, but it's also slippery. Very slippery. So to aid this, I went ahead and I slapped a dbrand skin on mine. You can grab the ones that I have here using the link in the description. So in a nutshell, what makes the iPhone so compelling is, well, it's easy. Not saying that Android isn't, but let's be honest here. With iOS, there's little to no learning curve at all. You just turn it on and start using it. It's still the same basic, simple OS. It's just a grid of icons. Many will argue that iOS is also better optimized, and I'll have to agree with them on that. Things like overall application support and pictures looking better on Snapchat. Things like this do matter, but is it enough? And then of course, there's the wide world of jailbreaking. Jailbreaking versus rooting is a whole other topic for a whole other video, but jailbreaking does open the door for some customization aspects you otherwise would not get access to, as long as you're brave enough to go down that road. Now, I'm not trying to persuade anyone to move over to the iPhone, My main point here is trying to get more Android users to truly understand what iPhones could offer. And after using the 7 Plus for many weeks straight, I still won't be using it as my daily driver for much longer. In my eyes, Android just works better for me. I can control how I want to use my phone and the way it looks. I'm not tied down to anything. For me, it just has more to offer. This right here is what it's all about. It's about finding which one works best for you. And I'll be honest, if I had to, I could probably get away with using an iPhone as my daily, but I'd still feel like I'd be missing out on a whole lot while doing so. The reverse does not hold true. So that pretty much does it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe to the Android Police channel if you haven't already, comment your thoughts on this video. We greatly appreciate your feedback. That does it for me, and thanks for watching, guys.